Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's weekly Q&A held every Wednesday 8 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube. We are live. I'm just now kind of sharing it across all of our platforms. Bear with me here as I post this on our site, Facebook, Twitter, the list goes on and on. All right. I hope you all have a great new year and a happy holidays. We've actually had a decent amount of news recently in the world of cord cutting, so let's kind of dive into that. Let me finish sharing this in the last few places as I see people are already pouring in. It's great to see everybody here. All right, one more place. Come on, Facebook, speed up. Facebook's suddenly being slow on me. All right, here we go. There we go. So yeah, so everything's live. A few things right off the bat with Cord Cutters News weekly Q&A. Next week's show will not be happening. I'll be at CES, and because the timing of all the events, I'm actually going to be in meetings during the normal time of this Q&A. So we're going to take 1 week off. I may do a pop-in late in the week if I have time, but don't count on it. So in 2 weeks from today, we'll be back to a normal schedule, and we should be on that schedule for some time for the foreseeable future. So keep that in mind. Oh, Gary, Jim, Colin, Tim, Gary again. Kenneth, Get Better TV. Roscoe, Colin, Jim, everybody. It's good to see you here. Just kind of reading over the list. So yeah, so if you have a cord cutting Q&A question or question for our weekly Q&A, post it in the comments on youtube.com/cordcuttersnews. Our YouTube feed's the only place I'm going to be watching this live. Will I be broadcasting live from CBS? Could be, but not at this normal time because I'll actually be in meetings right when that happens. So I will be having a ton of live or videos posted. I got this little cool, it's not on right now, a little gizmo that auto levels and allows you to balance everything out. That will help us create better videos off my cell phone. So check this out. It'll be a lot of fun to keep on there. I will be doing some booth tours and all kinds of stuff from CES with that. Raymond, I may or may not have got your tweet. We get hundreds and hundreds of tweets. So if you want to resend me that comment, I'll take a look at it here. Hello, Ellen from Pennsylvania. It's good to see you. Happy New Year. How does weather affect you over there TV? Not as much as satellite TV gets affected by weather, but it can a little bit. Hey everybody, I know a lot of people ask for these coffee mugs, the Cord Cutters News branded coffee mugs. Guess what? I ordered them. They will be coming next week. 2 weeks from today, when our next live Q&A happens at this time, we will have these mugs for sale. I'm thinking if everything works out right, $10.99 for the mugs. You'll get to support Cord Cutters News. The proceeds will help go to the cost of our new office, which has ended up being a lot more expensive than I thought it would be, as all things are. Two, it's a kind of a cool mug. It says Cord Cutters News on it. Oop, don't spill this, Luke. So check that out. What phone do I have? I have the Pixel XL right now, the first gen. Here, the second gen's pretty nice, but I got the Pixel XL. Very happy with it. This is actually being recorded. Most of my videos, reviews, and most of the stuff I'll shoot at CS is being recorded on a Canon T. This is a TI5. This is my old one from a few years ago. It's actually got some issues with it, so this is going to be my permanent like studio camera for this kind of filming. The Canon Rebel T6i is what I shoot most of my reviews on now. I just picked that up. That was part of our new office investment. Hello, Roscoe, I hope I said that right. It says, I see a lot of products behind you, like stuff for streaming. Is this what this is all about? I currently use a Nvidia Shield and now I have an Xbox and using Kodi. Yeah, so we're all about streaming your content, breaking free from the high cost of traditional pay TV, cable, satellite, and streaming your content legally. We cover the world of legal content here. But yeah, you do notice I got a ton of different streaming players. We own over 50 now, I believe, streaming players. and we have a whole host of content out there. So Check it out, corecarsnews.com, if you want to learn more about it. MeTV streams now. No, Bill, I've actually had a busy day today. I have not been around it. Oh, it's not live. You're talking about, yeah, that's actually a partnership with Hulu there. Hulu does that on-demand streaming with MeTV. If you go to the bottom, Bill, I actually posted about that 2 months ago. Maybe it's time I do another post, because they have been slowly adding more content. But yes, Hulu and MeTV have teamed up to offer content. All right, everybody, great to see so many people here. A few things right off the bat before we get farther, because I know there's a lot of people have been coming in since I announced this. Next week's Q&A, at 8, which typically happens every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, will not happen at its normal time. I am flying out to Vegas on Saturday. I will be at CES for a full week. I have meetings booked. I've actually had to turn down a ton of meetings with companies who want to meet with us. We'll be bringing more staff next year. But we will be in meeting after meeting, which means when I would normally be doing this Q&A, I'm actually have some booked meetings with particular companies that I need to be at. So no Q&A next week due to scheduling conflict. But keep an eye. I may try to do a little pop-in, maybe late in the week, maybe over the weekend. We'll see. No promises on that. But hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Follow us at Core Cars News. Get the newsletter. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Because we're going to have wall-to-wall coverage of CES, including exclusive one-on-one meetings with some of the biggest companies in core cutting out there. So make sure to subscribe. 2, I know a lot of people have been asking for these mugs. They're ordered. Actually, the boxes to ship them came in. The actual order itself won't come in for another week or 2. Actually, will come in. Let me look. Will actually come in sometime late next week. Here we go. Any idea when YouTube TV will come to Roku? They say early 2018. Sources are telling me late January, February, more likely. So keep that in mind. So what's new with the 4 gig Shield? What are you talking about, the NVIDIA Shield, Gary? Let me know. I'm not sure I understand your question there. All right, so yes, order's been placed. Production is in progress of the coffee mugs. Does not give me a delivery date. Estimated between the 15th and the 16th for delivery, unfortunately. But if you want one of these new coffee mugs, $10.99 is how I think I'll do it. Proceeds of the sale will go to the cost of the new Core Cars News office, which not next week because I'll be in Vegas. The following week, I'll be giving a full tour of everything out there. Joel asks, anything new in the 5G? So 5G is the new wireless internet standard. It's the next generation up from 4G, but it works totally different. It's a totally different philosophy, system, everything. And it's designed to take on home internet. So keep that in mind. So any word on it? There are a handful of markets going live. Verizon's got like 6 or 7. AT&T's got a couple. Some other companies have some. T-Mobile swears they're going to beat everybody to market, but so far there's nothing there to back that. We'll see what they do. But the 5G is going to come out in the next few months. It's probably not going to be into 2020 until most people get it. Ben, I don't know when your Sharp TV is going to get it. I may want, have you talked to Sharp? Because remember, Roku can only do so much. Some of this is on Sharp too. But I believe most TCL TVs have it now. Pretty much most Roku TVs in general have a new 8.0 update. Are you going to do a tour of your new space? Yes, we are. This is still my old. Now, this is all going to still be here. So this whole setup is redundant. I have an identical setup of the new office. My new desk showed up. because I'm gone next week, the final touches on The Office will happen the week after. So sometime like 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing a full live tour and post it on YouTube and so forth. But I really appreciate everybody's support. That definitely ended up being, as with all things, it always costs more money than you think you will. So if you want to support us, donate on Patreon, $1, $5 a month, whatever you want. Or you can buy one of these great Court Cards News mugs for $10.99. And we'll start selling these 2 weeks from today. These will be for sale. Raymond says, Court Cards News, do you expect a rise in NFL availability now that Verizon is losing the rights? Yes, we're already seeing that. So NBC, ESPN, and other companies or TV services have struck deals that will allow their content to be streamed on mobile devices. So you'll soon be able to take Monday Night Football on ESPN, watch on Sling, PlayStation Vue, etc. on your phone or tablet that is on a wireless network. But that, I think ESPN this weekend that will start. For NBC, I don't think that starts until next season. So keep that in mind. Any idea on why the new Hulu app has not hit the Roku 2 from 2015? My guess is that the Roku 2 is a slower, older processor. Maybe they've determined that it's not capable of handling it. Robert, just to be honest, it's a, I think, are you sure you got that version? Because I think that version you're talking about actually has it. I think it's the Roku 2 from 2013, 2014 is the one that doesn't have it. But I could be wrong on that. Any update on the DirecTV Now coming out beta? Any word when the DirecTV on a DirecTV Now device? Check out next week CES. I keep an eye on that. Rumors are flying that there will be some type of announcement, not necessarily at CES, but sometime this month about the DVR if the service doesn't come out as a whole. So we'll have to wait and see. But the word is that the DirecTV Now DVR is on its way. Okay, Roscoe, great to see that you're having a great experience with the YouTube TV. DirecTV Now beta still seems far off. Yeah, I think that is more of a recent issue. It wasn't that long ago that the beta seemed to be working pretty well. I think DirecTV Now is up to something with their backend. I think that's causing part of the issue there. We'll have to wait and see. Court Cards News, you said that companies will fold. Will Tubi or Pluto TV be one of the victims? They could be, but not this year. Both of them just got some major funding, so I would expect them to be very successful going forward. I really like both companies. I've met some of the senior executives at both companies. I like what they're doing there. I think they're on the right path. And I think things are actually going well for them. And if you are not trying out Tubi TV or Pluto TV, you should. I use them. I've met the people behind it, and I am very impressed with both. What big cord cutting announcements do you see coming at CES? Well, we already know one. So today, Roku announced that they're expanding the Roku brand into smart speakers, smart soundbars, everything that's designed to better integrate into your Roku home theater experience. They said at that TCL will be making an announcement. I am going to be at that TCL press event to see what that will be. Past that, I expect a lot. There are a few differences this year. Sling TV did not get a booth this year. Dish as a whole didn't get a booth. That's a first for the last few years. The last few years, Sling TV, Dish has had a booth. Kind of makes sense that they don't a little bit this year because there's really not a lot to announce there. So we'll have to wait and see. As far as big announcements, I mean, watch for the typical flood of streaming players, smart TVs, etc. So I don't know. I'll be at CES and I'll be posting every day what the biggest stories are from that from CES that year or that day. Gary says, I wish more TVs would do Android OS like Sony. Why, Gary, why do you like the Android OS so much? Let us know. Any news about KU brand and C brand satellite TV that is free? Probably not. That's just kind of a dying standard that is probably not coming back to its former glory days. Thoughts on the recently announced Channel Master OTA streaming device? It looks nice. A few fallbacks. They probably shouldn't have. I wish they kind of had waited until they had the USB port to work. Currently, the DVR will only work off a micro SD card. I think they said they went up to 64 gigabytes in testing. Don't count me on that. I'm a little disappointed in that because that's A, much more expensive memory. B, it's lacking a lot of features you expect from it. 2, it looks like a perfect device to make a Plex server out of. USB, plug in an external hard drive, put Plex on there, make that your DVR, everything. They told us that Plex will not have access to the DVR or the tuner to use their DVR. Why? They said it's possible, but this time they won't be able to make that low-level connection, which is kind of disappointing. Past those 2 holdups, it seems like a pretty cool device. An Android TV DVR uses the Google channels. Google pretty much will manage all of the recording and all that through it. So yeah. Anything's new with the DirecTV Now and MSG? I live in Connecticut, 2 hours from New York City, and don't have it. Also, do you see PlayStation Vue getting MSG? PlayStation Vue could. I'm not sure they will. If they will, it'd probably be in their additional higher package that sports add-on they now have. Right now, Fubo TV and DirecTV Now are the only 2 with MSG, the regional sports network called MSG. Now, why don't you have it in Connecticut? I don't know. You would have to talk to AT&T. For a little while, there was available nationwide for a couple of days. Then it cut back. And I've heard people that live in New York City say they don't have access to it. But it is basically in the greater New York City area. Does it extend as far as Connecticut? Apparently not, from what you're saying. So yeah. Any update on YouTube TV on Roku? Sometime in the next couple months, it should be out. Will the Watch ESPN app on Roku ever get an update to fix the buffering issues? King, the Roku app, the Watch ESPN one, is fine. I mean, I've had that app for years. I've had no buffering. Over the weekend, though, they did have outages. And it wasn't the Roku app that had outages. It was Watch ESPN across the board, especially during the Rose Bowl, got crushed under the weight. And I posted a lot about that. If you go read Court Cards News, you go back to the homepage, you'll find a story there all about this in great detail about why that happened. But the end of it is, yes, basically Watch ESPN as a whole had a bad day. Any news on Tribune Fox on PlayStation Vue? Very possible, could happen, but nothing new to report. Samsung TV or TCL TV for cord cutting and major differences. I think they're both great. I do like the Roku TV OS a little bit better for cord cutting than the Samsung one. The DVR, the live TV pausing built in, the channel guide is really nice, and you get the Roku OS of apps. So the library of apps is just so much bigger than what you will get on a Samsung device. So for streaming, I would get the Roku TVs. I think, of course, Samsung, you can get some like 2,000-hour TVs are crazy high. But if you're looking for a middle-of-the-range TV, the TCL C series and the TCL P series, the TCL C series being the slightly higher-end model, they're both extremely competitive to the Samsung mid-range devices, especially the TCL C series. Any other news on DirecTV Now issues over the holiday? I'm glad I'm on my 30-day trial, and it was a little spotty. Yeah, James, I had a full post. So go to courtcardsnews.com. I break out everything what happened because it wasn't just DirecTV Now. Watch ESPN went down. Even had some people say PlayStation Vue went down for a short amount of time. The list goes on and on. Basically what happened was demand was higher than expected, and streaming services are scrambling to find additional capacity. If you want to learn why that's difficult and more issues there, go check out courtcardsnews.com. On the homepage, there's a post called "A Bad Weekend for Streaming." We explain what happened. I go into great links answering your question there. Gary, does TCL offer wireless mirroring? I believe it does, the same as Roku does. The Roku wireless mirroring. Luke, do you think there will be any announcements about 3.0 over-the-air TV and 4K broadcasting? Very likely. We know Phoenix is going to kick off in a couple months, the 3.0 test market. We're looking at our options there to go test that out. But beyond that, we'll be day by day playing it by ear. Blaine, yes. So 3.0 over there TV standard is being looked at as a possible broadband internet service provider. The technology behind it. We'll see if it comes or does not. Kevin says, will 4K broadcasters support her? When you say her, what do you mean? I need a little bit more details. Fire Stick does I mirror on my laptop. Yep. Oh, will 4K broadcasting support HDR? I believe yes. 3.0 does support 4K and HDR, I believe. According to all reports, I believe that is correct. Do you, Core Cars News, do you post about what Tubi and Pluto has added this month? Yes, especially with Tubi TV. Pluto doesn't give quite a... I'll see if I can talk to Pluto TV about that this at CES. But yes, keep that in mind. We do post monthly posts about that. Also, Roku Channel, Crackle, all kinds of others. We do monthly posts about what's new on there. Colin asks, is Core Cars News going to the NAB show? Yes, we already have hotel rooms, flights, and everything. Actually, I just got an email today saying my flight numbers have changed. And they're only giving me 35 minutes in Dallas to get from one gate to the next, from when I was supposed to land to the next. So I may be calling American Airlines tomorrow and figuring out what's happening with that. But yes, we will be at NAB. We will be covering CES, NAB, and probably a few other shows out there right now. Bad night. I see your question marks, but I don't know what the question is. When will OTA TV become available in 4K? Robert, that's when the new 3.0 standard will happen. Will include 4K support, better penetration, more coverage, all kinds of other features. OTA 3.0 is being tested in Cleveland, Ohio, if I remember right, and in Phoenix, Arizona in March. It's going to roll out to the big 4 channels as a major test. Probably a year from now, we'll start seeing 3.0 really start rolling out. Probably in 2020, most Americans will have one or more stations already in 3.0. We'll have to see how the demand goes. But yeah, so 4K is coming over there TV. Do you think that Roku will come out with a tuner box for the 3.0 standard? They could. We'll have to wait and see. The 3.0 standard will require a new tuner for most TVs. And there are several companies already in the works of just selling these little boxes that, you plug their antenna in one end, you take an HDMI cable to your TV, you have 3.0 features. Do major streaming companies invite you to see their businesses? Yeah, I have very great relationships with many of them. Hulu, Sling, DirecTV, now AT&T has been very good to us recently. The list goes on and on and on. We're working as always with all of them to build relationships as best as we can, so that when we have questions, we know who to go to get the most accurate information. But we've had great meetings. I've met many presidents. Roger Lynch, the former president of Sling TV, I met him a couple times. He was a really great guy. Bad Night, I didn't see it. You gotta remember, Bad Night, there's 135 people here. Just because you post your question doesn't mean I get to see it, because the chat scroll is pretty quick. So re-ask your question. Just putting question marks doesn't help me find your question. What would the range at 3.0 be? 60 miles plus? Hard to say. They say it's going to be significantly better in 2 ways. A, it's supposed to give a better range. What exactly does that mean versus 1.0? We don't know. But it's supposed to do a better job covering the area it ranges. So things like trees and buildings, the new 3.0 standard is supposed to do a better job pushing through that and not making that an obstacle to bar the transmission over their TV. What live TV services do you see come out this year? Well, we know Verizon's got one that we're pretty sure is going to come out. T-Mobile says they got one coming out. So there's a couple right there that we know for sure are coming out. Raymond says, Core Cars News, I doubt that Crackle will be one of the victims of shutdown with their application because of Sony. Actually, I think Crackle is one of the more vulnerable streaming services right now. They lost one of their major shows. Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars, Getting Coffee, whatever it is moving from Crackle this month to Netflix. I've also noticed that the quality of content going to Crackle recently has kind of slowed down a little bit, at least in the number of things coming to Crackle. So I'm a little interested in seeing what's going to happen with Crackle. Crackle used to send us all kinds of information. Recently, I have not been getting email replies from them. So I don't know. If I had to list one service that I thought was in possibility of not being around, Crackle may be one of them I put on that list. Especially with their loss of Seinfeld and just the weird situation with them not replying to emails recently. Nope. So one of the things that's on my wish list right now, and maybe if you buy a mug and support Core Cars News, $10.99, starting selling 2 weeks from today, is not relying off a battery on this camera, but getting a dedicated power plug on that. Just add a DVR feature to Sling TV to evaluate it, says Sharon. Before I buy, install Sling's AirTV recorder for Wi-Fi router. Any experiences available from your viewers with Sling TV DVR or Sling TV AirTV? I have both, the AirTV and Sling TV DVR. Currently, the AirTV does not record over the AirTV. Could they add that in the future? Sure, but as of today, it doesn't do that. So keep that in mind. The DVR record all network stream stuff, but it doesn't record your antenna. Past that, Sling TV has really come a long way. It's one of the more stable streaming services. And, it's a pretty nice deal. I would recommend it if you think it has the channels you want. So keep that in mind. James says, any Vidgo news? No, sorry, not at this time. But if we hear any, we'll let you know. I will be at CS, and if I see anything, I'll post about it. When do you see a flood of locals coming to live TV streaming services? Colin, that's already kind of started. In December, I want to say over 100 locals added to one service or another. A little slow the last 2 weeks because of Christmas and New Year's, but look for a new flood of locals. I stand by my prediction I made last year that by the end of 2018, most locals will be streaming on one service or the other. It doesn't mean every service will have every local, but I do believe that by the end of the year, most channels will be available on one or more streaming services. So keep your eyes open. There's a bit of a process that goes into adding locals to a live TV streaming service. One of the main things is they have to establish a secure connection. Content owners are very paranoid about streaming, understandably. They want to ensure that the stream will not be compromised and turned into a pirate stream. So there's specific hardware that's installed at each station, secure connections that are made. The list goes on and on. Basically, the short end of the story is it's coming. It takes time. Katie says, how much extra memory can you add to Roku's via USB or SD memory card? SD memory card on the Roku Ultra. Does the Premiere have a micro SD memory card? Somebody help me out. I can't remember what the Premiere Plus does. The Roku 3 does too. If you can, you don't need more than a gig or two. It's really just storing additional apps. So if you get like over 50 Roku channels or 60 Roku channels, depending on their size, you may notice that the Roku will start running out of memory. I don't think Roku, when they built some of the older players, thought people would install more than 50 or 60 Roku channels at a time. But many of the newer Rokus that are the higher end models do include a micro SD slot. You don't have to go crazy. 10 gigabytes will be more than enough because those apps are very tiny. I think it was a lack of foresight on Roku with the older models to just assume that people wouldn't be installing 50 or more channels on their Roku. Luke, do you think we will see a la carte live TV services sometime in the future? I don't predict it anytime soon. I think the first version of a la carte TV we will see will be like a bundle where for a set price you could say pick 10 channels. So you pay $25, you pick 10 channels from a list. I predict that would be the first step in our slow move to the world of a la carte TV. It's one of those stepping stones. Eventually, do I think we'll get to a true a la carte? Yes. But at that time, that will probably happen about the time where many cable networks just shut down. Let's be honest. Not all cable networks will survive in a la carte. All like MTV2, etc. They probably won't survive. It's very possible CNN won't even survive. There was a study that said that CNN, looking at the number of people who actually watch it and would pay for it, would not survive on it. I think it said Fox News and MSNBC may. I think Fox News was the best, obviously. Other networks, maybe that new Paramount network, that may not make it, and so forth, because there's not enough people on their own to support it. Yeah, Chiller just shut down too. What will probably be more realistic is sports news, that kind of stuff going a la carte in the future. And Disney's kind of hinted at that, saying that sometime in the future, their new ESPN streaming service that launches later this year may be the way you subscribe to ESPN in the future. Do you think all locals on DirecTV Now will show up on DirecTV Now? At some point, probably about a year from now, we'll see most on there. Again, it's not something you can just snap your fingers and put them on. There's contracts, there's hardware, there's security checks. The list goes on and on. Have you heard any news about HD 3.0 radio? No, I have not. Don't really cover a ton of radio news on that. PC Doctor, how is it determined what movies and shows leave Netflix, Hulu, and other streaming services? It's been a few years now, but we interviewed. If you look in the channel, you type in "to-be interview," you'll listen to it there. I think I put it on YouTube. But the short end of the story is we had a conversation about that. He said there's two things that happen. One is, for instance, if they have a deal with Paramount, Paramount will say, here's 20 movies we would like you to have. And Tubi could say, well, could we also get access to these 15? So there's a negotiation, and there's whole staffs of people that do nothing at Netflix but negotiate with content providers that say, how long can we get this show or that show? And then they'll sign a contract that will say, Netflix agrees to pay Fox X amount of dollars for X amount of shows for 6 months. And then at the end of the 6 months, Netflix either needs to renew that show or drop it and replace it with a new show. And part of it too is with Netflix is they only have so much cash. There's only so much cash here. So you can't keep everything. There's just not enough money at Netflix to pay for everything. So what they do is, they try to keep what they think will be evergreen, and then they try to rotate content. So part of the reason why content gets dropped and added with Netflix, so Hulu, etc., is the idea that, we got to rotate stock so there's always something new out there. So keep that in mind. But how does that work? It's complicated. Both sides have a say in it. Paramount may say, or Lionsgate or whatever, I'm not even sure if Lionsgate is still around, but may say, hey, we have a new movie coming out, Bad Boys 16 or whatever. Would you carry Bad Boys 1, 2, or 3? Or there's a new Rocky movie coming out. Would you carry all the previous Rockies? People will watch it, become interested in going to see the new Rocky, and so forth. So yeah, it's a complicated two-side. And Netflix may say, we would love to carry Rocky, but not at the price that you're asking for. We don't think it's worth that movie. How about we pick something else? So there's definitely a back and forth on that. What do you think Disney would do with Hulu? Hard to say at this point, way too early. Of course, we already know that Fox has moved all their content over to Hulu. Disney has a majority of their content on Hulu. Already announced that the remaining of Netflix stuff in 2019 is going to be pulled. For the short term, nothing. I don't think anything is going to change with Hulu in the short term. Long term, we'll have to wait and see. It wouldn't surprise me if they take a lot of the technology Hulu and apply it to their new Disney streaming service. Wouldn't surprise me if Hulu moves that streaming content over to, or if Disney moves that Disney content over to Hulu and makes that their streaming service. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Yeah, a lot of people have talked about, oh, well, just watch this network or that network on YouTube. It's streaming free. Those aren't legal streams. Those are pirate streams. They get shut down from time to time, and a new one pops up. And that's why I don't promote them, because we promote legal services here. Has the Olympic Channel replaced Chiller on the ABC Universal app? No, the Olympic Channel replaced another service. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was another channel that Hulu, or that the Olympic Channel replaced. Yeah, see, we have a ton of new people. Hey, a couple things. Right off the bat, real quick. Next week, no Q&A show. I will be at CES. Unfortunately, during the time of this Q&A, I have some meetings scheduled. So 2 weeks from today, we'll be back. I may try to do another Q&A live sometime next week, maybe late. We'll see, no promises. 2, I know a lot of people have asked to buy a Core Cars News mug. This one's mine. It was a Christmas gift a couple years I got from my wife. It was custom made, but I went and ordered a bunch of these. So I got like 70 some to come in the first batch. If you want a Core Cars News mug, 2 weeks from today, these will go for sale. $10.99 plus shipping maybe. We'll have to figure out how we'll work out shipping. But $10.99 will be the cost of the mug, and it will go to supporting the cost of Core Cars News. So if you want to support Core Cars News, buy a coffee mug. We would really appreciate it. Joe asks, when are you going to review the Channel Master Stream Plus media player? Their new Stream Plus DVR media player that's coming out is not on the market yet. We have talked with Channel Master about having a review unit. We're on the list for that, they say. We'll have to wait and see. I believe pre-orders are now. Sometime in mid-January, it'll go live on sale. If I have to buy one, I'll have to buy one. But we do intend to be reviewing it. Robert says Universal HD was replaced for the Olympic Channel. So the Olympic Channel replaced Universal HD. Anybody here remember when Universal HD was one of the few channels in HD? Sunrise Earth, where they would do like an hour-long show just showing you a sunrise. Am I the only one that remembers that fondly? Maybe I am the only one that enjoyed that show. I used to, when I would write, put that on the TV and hear the birds and everything chirping as I was writing. Do you think Core Cutters will become a TV streaming company? Are you talking about Core Cutters News? Not sure I want to get... I don't have the cash on hand to become a TV streaming company. That's crazy expensive. And I think it would actually be a bad idea. If I would launch a streaming service of my own, like a Netflix type service or a Sling TV type service, suddenly Sling TV, etc., they're not going to want to work with me. So I probably won't be doing that. Craig asks, are the Core Cars mugs going to be numbered? No, but maybe I should have them for an extra $50. I'll sign it. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something. First run, I'll sign a few for you. But yeah, so if you want to support Core Cars News, our new office, so not next week because it'll be at CES, but the week after, we will be giving a full tour of the new office. It's pretty darn close to be coming together. Next week, Monday, will be there. So check that out. And we're going to do our best to get that out there. But I don't know if I said the price, but $10.99 is going to be the price of these new mugs. We're getting a decent quality mug. I hope it's decent quality. It looks like it's decent quality from what we ordered. I've ordered from that company before. And then we'll go from there. Am I going to do pre-orders for the new coffee mugs? Maybe next week. Maybe late next week. I want to physically make sure I have the mugs on hand before I've made any sales of them. I've ordered them. The boxing for shipping, all the packing materials come in, but the mugs aren't scheduled to come in until next week. So I don't like to physically sell stuff until I have it in hand. I guess I worked in sales too long to know that things happen. Packages vanish in shipping. Things show up damaged or incorrect. You know, they ship your desk to Utah, which happened to me when I bought a new desk for the office, kind of as a Christmas present to myself. It's also a tax-deductible business expense. And it didn't show up. It didn't show up. And they said, oh, we shipped that to Utah. And then they promised it was going to come again. It didn't show up when they promised it was going to come again. And the company stopped returning my phone calls, even though I paid for a very not cheap desk. Not very expensive, not very cheap, though, desk. So, yeah, things have a way of vanishing. Gary says, I'd like to go to CS. Well, you can buy tickets. If you become an accredited news organization like we are, you can get a press pass, and we'll have a full access press pass. So keep an eye out there for us next week. I probably should. I have this like massive stack of press passes hanging on the door over my shoulder over there. Have you heard any news about Channel Master Android TV streaming box with 2 TV tuners and a DVR? Yes, Ricky, I have a full post about it on CoreCarsNews.com. If you look for Channel Master, just search that, it'll come up. I did get a chance to talk to some of the staff over at Channel Master about it before it was. Any new deals on packages or changes to packages? Tony, packages on what? Could be a little bit more clear. Colin asked, Luke, are you going to write a piece on how to watch the Winter Olympics? Yes, I already did that a couple weeks ago, actually. I will be doing another one coming up soon. If you go to courtcarsnews.com and you type in Winter Olympics in the search bar, hit search, it will pop up right there. No, Leah asks, found when Calls the Heart season 4 on Netflix. There was a Christmas special on Hallmark Christmas Day. I did a trial. Do they have on demand? I believe if you're a DirecTV Now Sling TV subscriber, you will find on demand there. I'm not sure if it'll still be there or not. I would check on like Amazon and iTunes to see if they have it for available as an individual purchase. Check that out. Oh, Tony says, any new promos with the different DirecTV Now, PS View, and Sling TV packages? Not that I know of. I will check into that, though. All right, keep the questions coming. And again, we will be at CES next week. I will be meeting with some of the biggest names in cord cutting. I will be at the different press conferences. I got this really cool new little device. Let me put my phone in it. We will also, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube here, hit the subscribe button. We are going to be doing, we are going to be doing booth tours and all kinds of different videos from CES. And here we go. Oops. Suddenly it doesn't want to work. Let me turn this off, turn it back on. Oh, I know what the problem is. I gotta re-extend this bar. There we go. So, this thing, which I just got today, which if I can figure it out later, this allows me to shoot really great video. I shot some really cool video on this, but suddenly it just wants to freak out at me. And I think here we go. I'll mess with this later. I was going to show you how to do it. And of course, as with all live things, when you do it live, you know, it typically doesn't work. Shoot. I was going to show you some cool things we can do with that to shoot really smooth, beautiful film. And I guess I'm going to have to play around with that more tomorrow to make sure I'm ready to use it at CES. But it allows me to shoot very stable video and pan and tilt and do all kinds of beautiful stuff that will allow me to do booth tours. So if you can't make it to CES, we are going to do great. We're going to go into all the cord cutting related booths, Sony, TCL, etc., and give you great in-depth, detailed looks at what you would see if you were at Cord Cutting or at CES. And we're going to post them on the Cord Cutters News YouTube page right here, youtube.com/CordCuttersNews. T Shanks says, recommendations for best indoor antenna for over-the-air TV. I don't have a specific antenna. I have brands though. The Mohu, Turk, and Antenna Direct are my favorites. WineGuard is probably another one I would add to that list. A lot of people really like that one. I think the new Mohu, their 60 mount indoor ultimate flat antenna is probably the best flat antenna. Turk and Antenna Direct have some very other good antennas. Check them out. Do you expect any news from Amazon at CES about the new Fire TV? It could be. We know they have another device out there floating around. It would not surprise me at all if Amazon dropped it there. So, check that out. How long does it take for Mr. Robot Season 3 to appear on Amazon Prime after it ends? I'm not sure about Prime. To purchase it, it appears the next day. All right, there we go. Apparently, you just can't start it with your phone in it, maybe. All right, so this is my new camera. Somebody told me in chat how to make it happen. And I can, with this, shoot all kinds of great videos that are smooth for somebody like me. And do all kinds of pan, tilt, fractures, time lapses, the list goes on and on. So check out Core Cars News YouTube channel. I'm going to be having some fun with this at CES. And I'm going to go out there and shoot all kinds of tours of different devices and interviews with companies and just kind of do my best to give you what it would be like if you were at CES, but can't be there. So I know a guy with his toys. What can I say? I love new things. Do you expect any, or I already answered that. I watched the free movies on Roku channel, but they need to reorganize the ads or limit ads in a way to compete. Mule, I don't know if I understand your question. Are you saying there's too many ads, or I don't a way to complain? Oh, a way to complain to Roku. I misread your thing. Go to Roku's customer support and give them feedback. Am I scheduled for a Mohu interview? No, but I've done it with Mohu before, and I'm very close to the Mohu company. They're great people out there, but they're not the only company that we're close with their antennas. Antenna Direct and Winegard has sent us stuff. Channel Master has sent us stuff. So pretty much all of them. I've heard about any issues with stations changing after the FCC auction. My first local is switching on Friday. Craig, no, I haven't heard anybody complain about it yet, but we're just in the infant stages of the transition of some of the channels changing their broadcast numbers. How much is this toy for your phone? This is a 3-axis balancer, which helps keep very smooth filming out there. This one I got for like 115 bucks. I didn't pay for it. I mean, the business paid for it, so I can write out as a tax deduction. That's a pretty cool one. Mike says, Miller, I'm using an older Roku 3 and I've had it for about 3 years. Should I upgrade to the newer Rokus? At some point I would. I wouldn't upgrade to the Roku Stick if you have a Roku 3. I would upgrade to the Roku Ultra. It's the same price as the 3 was back in the day. If you have the very old Roku 3, the pre-2015, so you have one that made in 2014 and older, I would upgrade that. It's, you know, that is coming up on 5 years old since it was released. 6 years old, I think. Don't come me on that. It's starting to show its age. Some apps aren't coming to it. Currently, I think most are. So if you're happy and there's nothing out there that you're missing, it's great. Don't worry about it. If there is something, if you notice that there's an app that you're not getting you want, I would upgrade to the Ultra. Hal says, any thoughts on PlayOn's Cloud DVR for all streaming services? You know, PlayOn works great. The problem with PlayOn is it does violate the terms of service of many of the services. They will say that, you know, you're buying a when you subscribe to Netflix, you buy a license to Netflix that says two things. A, you're only accessing it through Netflix streaming, unless you use their app and you download it through their own app on your phone, etc. Two, that you're only allowed to keep it from this period to this period. When their contract ends and they take it off Netflix, you're not supposed to keep it. The problem comes in with PlayOn is people download it and they keep it after. And once you stop paying for Netflix, once Netflix loses rights to that particular show, you effectively have a pirated copy of the show thanks to PlayOn. Not really. That you have a unauthorized copy, may be a better way of saying it. You have a copy that you're no longer paying for. That may be a better way of saying it. But the short end of the stick is, at some point, Netflix, Hulu, etc. could turn off access to PlayOn. They could, in theory, find a way to block it. So just keep that all in mind, that, you know, it's not technically, I believe, a favorable to the terms of service. What's the name of this device here I'm using? Let me see here. I'll put a link to it in the chat. If you want to buy this 3-axis stabilizer for cell phones, which for smooth filming, I just put a link to it. It's a Xeon, and there's a link to it in the show notes. It's the Q one, which is their newer one. There are a lot more It's one of the secondary brands. There are bigger brands out there. This one I saw a ton of good reviews for, and so far I've been very pleased with it. And my limited playing around with it, it showed up today. I've been playing around with it in the afternoon, shooting some film, and I like it. I obviously need to learn more about how to use it to before I head off to CES. So I'll probably be playing around with it tomorrow and Friday. All right, if you have a question, comment I did not answer, re-ask it, and I'll do my best to answer it. We'll keep coming. If a large streaming company, Wyatt, however you say it, I apologize, butchering names today. If a large streaming company asks you to join their company for a huge payout, would you leave Core Cars? That would have to be a pretty big payout because I absolutely love what I'm doing here at Core Cars News. Nothing better than having a bunch of people out there asking you or telling you that you've helped them save a ton of money. It's one of the coolest things is when I hear I've saved people money and it's helped their family and so forth. Sharon says, have you ever thought about joining Twit? I would be incredibly honored to join Twit. Leo Laporte was one of my influences when I made the decision to launch my own site. And, you know, it was kind of, well, he did it and I can do it too. I know he had a bigger fan base when he started from his Tech TV days. So, yeah. I would be incredibly honored to join Twit. But they have Tom Merritt, which is kind of their cord cutting guy. And I don't see them needing another cord cutting guy. But if they do, I'll be right here. I did get the option a few years ago, the opportunity, and I did appear on Tom Merritt's The Cord Killer show. And we talked about Sling TV when it first launched. And that was a great honor. Tom Merritt was another guy who, you know, I really respected what he's doing. I launched the site about the same time he broke out, did his own thing. And he was a great influence on how I do my stuff too. So Tom Merritt, Leo Laporte, I would be very honored to work with him. Any ideas about T-Mobile's Layer 3 merger? I'm very excited to see what T-Mobile does with Layer 3. The thing is, T-Mobile says they're going to be disruptive to the pay TV scene. Both Apple and Amazon tried that and both failed miserably. And both ended up walking away from it. So we'll have to see if T-Mobile can be successful where Apple and Amazon failed. Hey everybody, I just looked at the time. Wow, where does time go? About 10 minutes and we'll be here. Albert, you are right to say that Tom Merritt has not been a full-time employee of Twit for some time. Tom Merritt does do quite a few drop-ins. He recently was on Twit to talk about cord cutting last month. So there we go. Colin, you are right. Again, Tom Merritt is independent, but he does appear often on Twit. And I was on his show after he left Twit and launched the Cord Killers. Any official day of launch for DirecTV Now's DVR? No official day. Rumors and from people I've talked to and heard from says it could be announcement as soon as this month. Now, an announcement does not mean it comes out this month. We could be looking at February or whatever. I know that the recent couple weeks has been kind of rough on DirecTV Now DVR. I think DirecTV Now has seen a surge in capacity. I wrote about that today. But from what I'm hearing, they're still going to try to get that out there and do some, they get the DVR release announced this month. At CES maybe a little early, maybe by the end of January. I don't know. We'll see. It could not happen. As with all technology, you know, things that come up and things get delayed. So keep that in mind. Oh, Sharon says, for some of us, what's Twit? Yeah, Twit's a technology network that does 24/7 video about technology, cord cutting, computers, Apples, iPhones, Androids, the list goes on. It's really a great one out there. Really? Cord Killers cites Cord Cars News a lot on their show? What? I have a confession. I have kids now and the business is a lot busier. I have not been watching Cord Killers recently. They've been citing our work. Somebody got a link to that? I would love to see that. I would be terribly honored to see them. Every time I see them talk about topics, it's not Cord Cars News they use for their sites, which is understandable. Tom Merritt has a lot of friends in the industry, and he uses a lot of his friends' posts out there when he has guests. They're people he has worked for in the best. Hell, that's not citing CNN. That's citing CCN, Cord Cutters News. It's just a way a lot of people talk about Cord Cars News. But yeah, so Twit is a 24/7 Technology Network, some pre-record, some live. From the Leo Laporte, who comes from the Tech TV days. And Core Killers is Tom Merritt from, used to be with CNET before CBS, I believe, purchased them. He now has his own Core Kind show. And, you know, he's a very bright mind in the world of technology. Thanks, you Mule. I appreciate that you're looking forward to our CES show. Hey, real quick, while everybody's here, I'm going to play an ad. Some people are going to see an ad right now, some are not. But if you are not seeing an ad, do us a favor. First of all, if you're not following us on Facebook and Twitter, hit follow there. We would really appreciate it. 2, if you really like Core Cars News and you don't want to buy a coffee mug, maybe consider dropping $1 or $2 over at Patreon. God. See, I need to buy a power cable. I need a power cable. I'm going to put one on Amazon. I'm just going to buy it. And then this little issue with the camera shutting off. Apparently 30 minutes is the maximum amount of time you can have that camera running on battery. If you want to support Core Cars News, we will be selling these mugs. A lot of people asked where they got this. This one was a Christmas gift from my wife to me a few years ago. I have a bunch of these on order. We're going to start selling these for $10.99 out there. So $10.99 plus shipping. I'll have to figure out what the shipping will be on these. But if you want to support Core Cars News, the proceeds will go to fund the cost of our new office, which not next week because I'll be at CES, but the week after we'll have our grand opening of the new office. I'll give a tour. We'll be out there. Richard says he got a Hy-Vee ad. You know, Hy-Vee's got some good burgers. I used to live by a Hy-Vee, and they had this little grill out in the front during summer, and they would serve burgers and hot dogs. Man, those burgers were good. I used to go there just for lunch to get the burgers off the grill. Play on DVR thoughts. Hal, I already talked about that once, but quick recap. Play on DVR works well. The problem with it is it does break the terms of service of many streaming services out there. So keep in mind that if you're buying it, that services may try to block it in the future. You know, that's my disclaimer. I don't want to recommend it, have it blocked, and then have you come and say, Luke, you know, you recommended this and it doesn't work anymore. Just keep that in mind. What is the most anxious Core Cutting news you're following to see as CES? I'm interested in seeing new services, DVRs, I mean everything. I don't really have anything particular I'm going to CES to say I gotta see this right now. I am meeting with tons of companies out there at the in the world of core cutting. I have over a dozen meetings scheduled for the week. So yeah, keep an eye on Core Cars News. Subscribe here for those booth tours with my new fancy camera gizmo that will give really cool, high quality. See if I can make it happen again. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Something about the balance is off. But I'll have to recalibrate it probably. But that will allow me to shoot some great quality video. We'll have news, daily recaps, the daily newsletter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all things CES. But that does mean that next week we won't be here. 2 weeks from today, we'll be back with our normal Q&A show. 2 weeks from probably tomorrow, we'll have our grand opening of the new office, where we'll give you a tour of everything out there. All right, last call for questions. I'll ask a couple more questions out there. Thanks, Greg. I hope it is kind of warmer in Vegas than it is the rest of the country. How is the DVR service for HD Home Run? Not bad. HD Home Run, though, is one thing to remember. You need a home media server to use the HD Home Run as a DVR. Unlike the Tableau, which is an all-in-one device, with the HD Home Run, you need a media server. If you already have a media server, it's a great option for a DVR. All right, any other questions? Let me know. Otherwise, hey, I really appreciate everybody's support. Hit that subscribe. Every week, we're doing our best. You can't see us, and it's probably a good thing, but this office is a disaster right now as we move everything to the new office. Hang in there with me. I'm very excited in 2 weeks when I get back from CES to show you the new office. I'm very humbled by everybody's support here. I never thought Core Cars News would become as big as it is. To say we would have got, if you had told me a few months ago, or a few years ago especially, that we would be getting millions of visitors every month, I would have called you crazy. I mean, just to be honest, would not have believed where we are today. So I'm eternally grateful for your support. I'm eternally grateful for everybody who subscribes, everybody who tells your friends, everybody who, visits the sites without ad blockers, shares our stories, likes our stories, etc. It's just so helpful. It's beyond belief. So tell your friends every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, weekly Korakuen Q&As. And I will be back in 2 weeks. Nope, here's one more question I missed. Or two more, I'll do these real quick. Richard says, I have a Roku device for 2 months now and love it. If it wasn't for your show on a webpage, I wouldn't have one. Thank you very much. Thank you, Richard. I guess that wasn't the question, but I really appreciate the kind words. It really makes all this work worth it. Kenny says, multiple Android TV boxes in my house. I like DirecTV Now, but lose patience for the Android TV app. Will it come out anytime soon? Could be, I don't know. My recommendation is I think they're offering free Roku, so you could get a free Roku and get it that way. But unfortunately, I have not heard anything about the Android app. But I would suspect that's in the works, or at least in the thought pattern. All right, everybody, take care. Be safe. I will see you all in a few weeks. In 2 weeks. Next week, I will be broadcasting like mad videos and stuff from CES. So take care. I will see you all very soon. And now I have to hit the stop button. Take care, everybody.